tell y'all? You tuning into the best morning show on the globe. It's Bradham and Emery in the morning, y'all. LeBron or Jordan, either one when I'm performing. Crossover, buzzer beater and I'm scoring. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Every play they on it. Every day I'm balling. Who's the coach? Who's the GOAT? Like Brady and Belichick, best show on the globe. And they embellish it. Y'all paying Ziffy. I'm Ken Griffey or maybe Mahomes. I stay in the zone, whether man to man or play in the zone. They can't stop me. Mayweather boxing. Curry with the shot, man. We just the best to be. Can we have our SB, please? This was meant to be. Every morning with Bradham and Emery.
Yes, sir. You know the vibes. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. You know what that means? It's Bradham and Emery in the morning, baby. Marcus Bradham, Justin Emery.
Good morning, sports fans. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning.
Beautiful, debatable.
It's going to be a nice day. Did you look at the weather report for later on?
No. What am I, 70? No.
Oh, come on. You got to know what's going on.
I don't know. I just wake up and see what happens.
All right, then. This show, sponsored by Conshohocken Italian Bakery. Check them out at conchibakery.com, 79 Jones Street in Conshohocken. Call ahead at 610-825-9334.
All right, so I'm going to need therapy today.
Okay.
And
I can provide that.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna lay on the couch, and I need some therapy. I'm gonna need. I need the
come
people listening.
Come to my living room.
Yeah, we're gonna step in the living room. I need some therapy. After this past 6 days of Eagles football, I need some advice of what to do next, because this has been a roller coaster of emotions. Like, I don't know in the history of me watching Eagles football that I've ever had so many different emotions in a short period of time. I gotta go back to last Sunday, because that's where the story begins. Last Sunday, first half of that game, it gets to the point where, like, you go through, like, the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I was watching the game. Like, I experienced anger, sadness, frustration, and then I became numb. I was like, okay, this is ugly. This season's gonna be ugly. It is what it is. I kind of resorted to that point. Then the second half happens, and it was a completely different game than the first half. Now, listen, people can say that Baltimore took their foot off the gas, which could be true. People can say Baltimore ran more of a vanilla offense, which could be true. But the Eagles kept fighting. They kept fighting. They stayed in the game. They played hard. And it made a game of the end. And if it wasn't for a horrific play call, you might have a tie game with a chance to win it. Oh, and a Jake Elliott missed field goal again. You might have had a chance to win the game. So I leave that game and I'm like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? Do I now get excited going forward? Or was this just, again, all those factors I mentioned about Baltimore kind of didn't fall off the gas? So then we go to Thursday. You don't really have time. When a Thursday game, you don't really have time to take a second and breath like you usually do going into from Sunday to Sunday.
Right.
Like Thursday, it hits you fast. It approaches you fast. Like, it got to the point where Tuesday I was like, oh, they play in 2 days. So then Thursday night happens, and first drive. First of all, you see, as frustrating as it has been that you've only had Deshaun Jackson for 3 games, man, is he electric when he's on the field. He is a B12 shot.
I agree.
He is, you saw the first two plays.
You know how they always talk in NBA, bring a guy off the bench, he's instant offense? Deshaun Jackson is instant offense. He's instant.
1,000%.
First downs, yardage, moving the ball.
1,000%.
Instant offense on the field.
And the end around, you did end around, first down. Quick out, first down. And they're moving. They're grooving. They go down and they score. It looks like they're going to run all over the Giants. Like, after that first drive, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a 31-7. I'll be in bed. I'll be in bed probably by mid-third quarter.
Right.
No, not the case. Not the case at all. I don't even know. And the thing that's hard to, I don't even know what happened. But all of a sudden, it became a competitive football game. And, listen, Carson Wentz has played, I think we can admit, Carson Wentz has played above average to great football for the past couple weeks. But he has got to figure out a way to stop turning the ball over. The turnovers they've just got to stop. And they're all like, there's no good time for a turnover, but his turnovers are the worst possible time. Like, you're driving, they're driving, and you're in the red zone. You can't throw a pick there because that's a momentum killer. You can't. That can't happen. And he's actually had the past couple weeks, I would venture to say, 60% of his turnovers have been while the Eagles were driving, which is not good. So this is kind of like a choose your own adventure episode. Do you remember? Are you old enough to remember those books back in the day?
Of course.
Okay, just making sure. I was obsessed with choose your own adventures. So here's my dilemma. The Eagles eventually, they come back again. So they come back, they end up winning a game down by 11 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes to go. Put together 2 drives. So then now I'm getting excited again. Like, who's not going to get excited about that? Even though it's a bad football team you're playing, you weren't supposed to be in a position. Who's not going to be excited about their team coming back with 5 minutes to go and scoring 2 touchdowns? Everyone's going to be excited, right? Here's my question. Here's what I'm struggling with. Is it for the good of the team for the Eagles to make the playoffs this year? And let me explain that a little bit more. Everything now, you have the injuries, obviously. They've been riddled with injuries. So that plays into it. But also, the way this team is built with so many veterans, these things are going to happen. So if the Eagles end up making the playoffs, do you think they still at the end of the year, even if they made the playoffs, would be like, okay, yeah, we made the playoffs, but we need to make some changes? Or if they make the playoffs, are they going to think, well, maybe if we just, put this piece here or put this piece here, maybe we can fix this? Because I think even if they make the playoffs this year, big time changes need to be made because of the veterans. They depend on way too many veterans, like Jason Peters and Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey, and it's just too many of their skilled players are old. And football is a young man's league. We know that. So I don't want to enable them. So that's what I'm struggling with, where I'm a competitive guy. I want to make the playoffs. I want them to make the playoffs, but is it good for the franchise, and is it good for them to make the playoffs? You see what's happening here? You see my emotions? In the first 7 minutes, I literally have been a roller coaster of love.
I hear you. And
I'm stressed out, Justin.
That's a lot to break down.
I'm stressed out.
I'm here. I got you covered. I'll break it all down.
Like my
for you.
son, when my son was a baby, when he gets stressed out, he would pull his hair and just hold on to it. That's how I felt for the past week. I've just been pulling my hair and holding on to it. Stressed out.
So on the surface, the obvious answer is you always want to make the playoffs because you never know what can happen. You can't win the tournament if you're not in the tournament.
All facts.
So that's on the surface, that's number one. However, this particular year, I think it might be better for them to miss the playoffs. Now, you want Carson to get more playoff experience than just, 5 snaps, 3 snaps, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You want to get more than that. But does getting your brain stomped in the first round really gain you any experience? I don't know. That's I'm just thinking out loud when I say that.
Yeah.
But if the difference between, let's say, the number 6, 7 pick, something like that, and winning the division, that difference is only 2 games, I think it might be better to have that pick. Now, the bigger issue is, do you trust the front office to make the right pick with that pick? Are they going to select the right player?
No,
absolutely not. That brings me back to what I had said on our very first show.
Oh, here we go with this again.
You need the
you
need the assets, and I shouldn't say the only way, but you need to ensure that you need to rebuild this roster. Like you said, it's nothing but age and veterans. You need more picks. You need more chances to hit on younger players.
Yeah, it's strange with the Eagles. The Eagles will be really good at making decisions and getting rid of guys before the other side.
Yeah.
And now they're struggling with that.
Absolutely.
I don't understand what's happened.
I mean,
I know Joe Banner's not there anymore.
Yeah,
but
and that was a big deal with that. And like you said, the last 2 games going back to Baltimore, I think that the comeback, while impressive and it was nice to see, you want to see your team keep fighting, I actually think Baltimore took their foot off the gas.
Which is fair. And I mean,
I would have done the same thing. Because they were laughing on the sidelines during the third quarter.
Yeah.
The Baltimore players were laughing.
Right.
And then I've said it every week. The only thing on this offense that worries defensive coordinators is when Carson Wentz decides to go crazy.
Yeah.
You saw that in the Pittsburgh game.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that at the end of the Baltimore game. You saw that at the end of the Giants game. 6 minutes and some odd seconds left, down 2 touchdowns, wins the game.
Bang, bang, boom.
In regulation.
And let's just take a second to appreciate that throw to Boston Scott.
That was a great throw.
That was that.
But here's the thing,
the probability they talk about with completions, where that probably was like what 12, 13%. Like you got a 5-6.
It might
back.
be even lower than that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be being generous. That's got a 5-6 back, being covered by a 6'3", 6'4" linebacker. I mean, there literally is and listen, it's a great catch also, because a throw like that, you're not seeing it. Boston Scott's not seeing that ball until it comes over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like he can't see that ball at all. So that's why he juggled a little bit, because it got on him quick. But the fact that he made that catch, but the throw, so impressive.
It was. And that's the thing that's so maddening about Carson, is that that interception was terrible.
Horrendous. You can't make that throw.
That interception was awful.
Do you think he was trying to go out of bounds with that? He just didn't get enough on the ball. It was a really bad throw.
It was a really that was the kind of throw you make in Madden when you hit the wrong button.
We've all been there. Yep.
You're running and you just hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
And you got a tight end going across the middle. You know he's open, and you accidentally throw it to the receiver on the other side of the field. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, I have Xbox, so playing 2K, and you actually hit the joystick. The joystick you can shoot with the joystick also. Yeah. So you actually hit the joystick, you launch from like half court.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And I admittedly I don't know much about the Giants because they're so bad that I don't really know a lot of guys on their team. But right. I know that what's the name, Bradbury, I believe. Mm-hmm. He's not the corner you throw at on the Giants, though. I do know that. And he's the one that came away with that on the bad throw.
Right.
So if you're going to just lob it and bomb it out of bounds, then you need to, number one, make sure it gets out of bounds.
Right.
Secondly, throw it to the side other than their solid corner.
Right. There was nothing there. So when he let go,
there was nothing.
When he
at
let
all.
go of the ball, I thought, oh, he's thrown out of bounds, and then I'm like, I don't think it's gonna get there, and it's like, wait, what? Interception? What's going on? So I'm just, for the benefit of the doubt, I'm gonna assume.
And a throw that was even worse than the interception, that one where he threw it across the field.
Yeah. And got like that. That's something you learn in like junior varsity or JV in high school. Like, hey, bro, you can't go across the field
across your body across the field.
Yeah, like that's you can't do things like that.
The thing that saved him on that is that his receiver was so much bigger than the corner,
right,
and could just out body him for the ball,
right. Yeah, like you can't, and like we look at Carson. At least I do. I still look at him as a young player. This is his 5th year.
Yeah,
and
he was a 5-year player in college.
Right.
So we're looking at 10 years since he's been out of high school.
Right. You just can't have those type of errors, and as a 5th-year quarterback. Like this, like I thought going into this year, this was going to be like his MVP type year. I thought this was going to be the breakout year. We're going back 2017. That was my thoughts going in this year, because it's like, okay, he's healthy. He had a full off season of just work, not rehab, which is major. It's a major deal to be able just to work on your game.
He doesn't have to worry about getting healthy.
Right.
He was healthy.
Right. He was healthy. He didn't have to work. All he was working on his game. So I was like, okay, this is it. And we've seen flashes.
No, he came into camp significantly more bulked up.
Right.
And thankfully he did, because he's taking
a lot of hits.
A lot of hits back there.
Yep.
I saw him walking out of the tunnel, going out to stretch and warm up, all that kind of stuff, before the game on Thursday. He was limping and clearly still sore from Sunday.
He said he did an interview. I think it was national. I'm gonna say it was a national interview, 'cause I think I heard it on national telecast. But he was saying that on Tuesday he was still really sore. And I don't listen. I like the Thursday game in the fact that there's more football, but I don't think the Thursday game is as smart for the players. I don't think it should be happening.
Now,
and Richard Sherman did an article.
I've read this. I've read the article.
If anyone hasn't read it out there, it's a great article about why Thursday night football is just shouldn't happen. He actually talked about he tore his Achilles on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And he talked about the reason it happened because his body wasn't recovered yet, and he broke down a player's week and why Thursday night football doesn't make sense. And he broke down how each day is kind of rehabilitation, is your body ready to go at it again on Sunday or Monday night. So Thursday just doesn't make sense because your body does not have the proper time to recover. So yeah, we have seen a lot of injuries on Thursday night football.
Now, you have. Now, when the Eagles play the Giants again, they will have had the 11 days off, the Giants, and then a bye. They should have some bodies back by the time they replay the Giants again on November 15th.
I would assume, yes.
So, their Thursday night matchup came at a pretty decent time for them.
Yes, I mean I
looked at it on I looked at it on the calendar. They play one game in the next 22 days,
and the fact too that it was the Giants.
Yes,
helped them. That there was the Giants were their Thursday night opponent, and it wasn't. You didn't have to go, and it was home. So the nice I would venture to say, it is a very high percentage that the home team wins most Thursday night football games. You have a significant advantage.
Yes, however, it's not like the Giants are a long road trip.
True. Yeah, true.
Because I believe they're the second closest matchup as far as distance goes, not counting the Giants Jets matchup, obviously same stadium. Not counting that, but Washington Baltimore is geographically the closest.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's Philadelphia Giants / Jets. Pick
and again, we talked about this off air a little bit. This is why the Eagles-Giants rivalry is the most important rivalry.
Yes.
For Philadelphia. And I know we get confused sometimes with the Cowboys because of the Cowboy fans live locally and you have that rivalry. But the Cowboys' true rival is the Washington football team.
Yes.
That's their rival.
Yeah.
And if you go down
Washington
to Dallas,
feels the same way.
Right. And if you go down to Dallas and talk to them, they hate them way more than they hate us.
Yes.
The true Cowboys fans who live down there. Now, and also too, going back through the history of Eagles-Giants football, the games have just been better. Think about the memories. The Miracle Meadowlands 1 with Herm Edwards. Miracle Meadowlands 2 with Deshaun Jackson.
What about Westbrook?
Westbrook. Oh, I'm sorry. That's probably 2. I guess 3. The trilogy would be Deshaun Jackson. And, all the memories when I was a kid, I hated the Giants way more than I hated the Cowboys. Because of how close it is.
With that Deshaun Jackson punt return, do you remember where you were when you saw it?
Yes.
Where were you at?
I was at my house, and so if you remember correctly, it was 7 minutes left. They're down 31-10. It's just I was literally this close because I was young. I was this close to turn the game off. I was like, all right, this is done. Then they score quick. I think it was a Brett Selleck touchdown. Vic hits him down the seam, and they scored 4 plays. I'm like 31-7, okay. And then they get the ball back, score again, and all of a sudden it just starts unraveling. And then I literally, it was one of those moments where you're so. Have you ever been late for school and
yes,
your alarm goes off and you don't know what to do first, so you start running around in a circle?
Yes.
That's kind of how I was. I was so excited. I was just making noises and just looking for things to do. I didn't know what to do. But yeah, it was. I'll never forget that. But yeah, but when it comes to the Cowboys, though, how many of those moments do we really have? Because usually the games Most times, they're blowouts either way.
I mean, really, the only ones that come to my mind are 4th and 26. And that was that was Green Bay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the blowout game, last game of the season.
Yeah, you're thinking of 44-6.
Yes, I'm thinking of that. Yeah,
and that was that day getting him into the playoffs. Like all the things that had to happen.
I think it was the Raiders had to win like earlier in the day.
Yeah, you need the Bears to beat the Texans, and you needed Tampa Bay, who was like this was John Gruden's last year. Tampa Bay, they were terrible to beat the Raiders. No. Reverse it. Or did you need Raiders? No, you need Tampa Bay to lose.
Yes.
And the Raiders were bad too.
They were abysmal.
Napoleon Kaufman ran for like 150 yards. So the things that were supposed to happen, and the Eagles got in.
I remember the play I got the 4th and 26 confused with. It was the McNabb 14-second runaround.
Yeah.
That was against the Cowboys.
That was Cowboys. Yep,
yes.
That was Monday Night Football 04.
Yes.
The Owens year. Yeah, that was a great game. But that was fun because the Eagles' offense was just so much fun to watch that year. That was not really a great game. They were just fun to watch. And that's, again, it goes back to my point, is that's why the Giants, to me, have always been the true rival.
And I guess one more just Cowboys-Eagles game that comes to my mind is the Jeff Garcia year, 2006.
Merry Christmas, Philadelphia?
Yes.
2006, yep. Yeah.
But other than that, it's
not much.
You can run down a list of 20 games with the Giants.
Yeah, easy.
Now, you still play the Cowboys twice a year, but either they suck or you suck.
Right, and it's just the natural New York-Philadelphia
Both teams
thing.
have to be good for you to have a rivalry.
Right. The natural New York-Philadelphia thing is big, too, because, New York has always kind of been big brother to Philly.
It flows into other sports.
Mm-hmm.
You have Knicks and Sixers fans.
Yeah.
Mets and Phillies fans.
Right.
Yankees and Phillies fans, going back now to the 09 World Series.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Back during that whole thing, it was really just the Yankees and Phillies duking it out in each league.
Yep.
In hockey, the Flyers and the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So
they rival for forever.
It bleeds into every sport. So I've always thought it was Eagles and Giants more so than the Cowboys. It's just like you said. It's just the vocal minority. Mm-hmm. Of Cowboys fans that live in the area that riles up that rivalry feeling.
Exactly.
But it's not real.
It's not really there. So another interesting tidbit about that game Thursday is it reminded me of 2017 Super Bowl year when the Eagles played the Giants, and it was a time they played in the third game of the season, and the time period where you didn't really know how good the Eagles were going to be. It was one of those things where it was just like, is it a good team? Is it an okay team? I don't know.
Are you talking about the boot?
I'm talking about Elliott from 61 yards to win the game. And this, listen.
Can we get into Elliott real quick?
Yes, please.
I don't care how much dead cat money that it might cost to cut him. Okay. Mm-hmm. What he signed? I believe he signed a 5-year deal. Like a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
Kickers have to be the most clutch players on your team.
Yeah.
I would cut him yesterday.
Yeah,
because here's what it comes down to with kickers. They only play maybe a dozen snaps a game, give or take. I was looking at the snap breakdown. I believe that the Eagles had 78 plays on offense and 59 plays on defense. Rodney McLeod was the only guy who played all the snaps on defense. So let's just say, let's put it on Rodney McLeod. He played 59 snaps, all the snaps on defense. He had a decent game. He got burned a couple times, but all in all, he played fairly well. Jake Elliott, if he missed the kick, the Eagles, had they ended up losing, coming back...
29-yarder, by the way.
Yes, less than an extra point.
Yeah, really, really bad.
And he missed one, like you said, the previous week. He's missed a couple this year.
Yeah, he missed one in Pittsburgh, which was longer, but...
Didn't he miss one against Baltimore?
The 29-yarder, yeah. No, the 29-yarder was Thursday.
Yes, didn't he miss one against...
He missed one against Baltimore and then one against Pittsburgh, yep.
Yeah. So, he's the only guy who... will get on games like that, kicker misses a late second field goal to win.
Mm-hmm.
They get blamed. Rodney McLeod plays 59 plays. The clutchest player on your team has to be the kicker. And if you can't rely on him to make kicks, he's got to go. I need to cut him today.
The thing about kickers,
I'm calling the bus.
You're running it up. You're starting it up.
You know the bus, right? You're not familiar with the bus?
The bus?
You've never heard of the bus?
I have not heard of the bus.
Oh. All right. Well, let me introduce you to the bus.
Educate me to the bus.
Okay, the bus. I believe it's.
I know SEPTA.
No.
New Jersey Transit.
No. I believe it's John Madden's old RV. Okay, so you know how he never used to fly. Yes, yeah. He didn't like to fly, so when he would do the games, he had this tricked out RV that he would just drive from city to city because he didn't want to fly.
Yeah.
It's maybe about 10 to 12 kickers, all free agent kickers, that live on this RV and travel from city to city when teams need kicker tryouts. They all travel together.
It's like a kicker union.
Yes, it's called the bus. I'm calling the bus and bringing the bus in.
I have never heard of this. This is amazing.
You've never heard of the bus? I didn't know the
traveling kicking circus.
Yes.
I had no idea.
It's all former college kickers.
I mean, it's a great idea. Think about it.
Soccer players, all guys who, they're not going out here trying to be linebackers or wide receiver. No, out here kicking, just kicking. Wow. So I'm calling the bus.
Yeah, I would like to see the bus pull up in Philly. Yeah, well, I was gonna say when kickers go, they go.
Yes,
like they like there's
remember
an ugly
Vanderjack. Do you remember Vanderjack?
Yes,
he was supposed to be the most accurate kicker. Ever. Yep. And he just fell off with the Colts.
Yeah, I agree. Like when they go, they go. Even like David Akers here. David Akers was good for such a long period of time, and it just got brutal towards the end. And Jake Elliott's a guy I thought would be here for a while, but again, like I said, kickers fall off cliffs. There's no graceful exit, and I agree with you. I think it's time, but I want to go around. I want to look at the division real quick and look at this.
You want to look at this division?
I mean, I think we have to. Maybe I'll say that we have to. So you got the Cowboys in 10 days. Or not 10 days now, 8 days now, on Sunday Night Football. And are the Eagles good enough? Are the Eagles good enough to win this division?
Yes.
Are they going to win this division?
I think that they are. And it's crazy. Real quick, I just want to touch on what we talked about last, just before. It's you remember Nate Kading?
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who's heading up this kicking bus.
So he's like the dad of the kicking bus. Nate Kading's been around forever.
I know.
He's been around for Nate Kading. Is he just like driving people around?
No, I think he's kicking. Like
he's still trying to actively kick.
I believe so.
Is he like 60? Nate Kading is. I remember him when I was a kid. He was like kicking in the 90s, wasn't he? Or am I?
I think you might be confusing it with someone else.
How old is Nate Kading?
I'll look it up.
I need to know that because I remember, did he kick for like San Diego in like 97, 98?
I have no clue.
That name I know the name. I remember him in the NFL. He's
38.
He's 38 now.
Yes.
So when was his rookie year? 22, I guess 16 years ago. So 2004. I think he's just one of those names. Like there's certain people in sports, they have a name where
04, you're right. 04.
You think they've played forever.
3rd round draft pick as a kicker.
Wow, look at him.
Oh, you remember
he
actually
real quick.
He retired.
Do you remember Scott Padgett?
No, I do not.
Scott Padgett, I swear, played at Kentucky University for like 10 years. And this is how I feel about. There's some names in sports where you have a guy you feel like they've played forever. Yeah, Jake Elliott contract.
Almost
5 years. No, he's got this. We can't be doing this.
Yeah.
No,
I had a feeling it was 5 years. I thought it was that long.
No way. That's too much.
Nate Kading, he retired.
Yeah,
but he's still heading it up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's personally driving him around. but he is heading it up.
That's pretty cool. All right. Shout out to Nick Kading. So in his division, the Eagles look like they're going to stumble in because the Cowboys are a mess. The Giants just aren't good enough to win a division. And Washington, come on, let's be real.
Andy Dalton is so bad.
Yeah.
How is he that bad?
Yeah, I expected a little more. Listen, I knew there would be a drop off.
He has in Cincinnati. He really didn't have much outside of AJ Green. Now, don't get me wrong. You can do much worse than AJ Green.
Right. And it was what's the guy? What's the other guy on the other side? Was it Hosbanzada? Did I say that right?
He was with Ocho Cinco. I don't think he was with AJ Green.
No.
Okay. No, not at all. Because Ocho Cinco finished his career in Baltimore.
Right.
He definitely wasn't there at the same time.
I was trying to think. I thought there was someone on the other side of him, but anyway, continue.
They have a bunch of number threes that they pass off as 2s and 1s.
Yeah.
But you have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, and they're abysmal.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Zeke fumbled the ball twice, and his fumble's an issue this year.
Yeah, which is out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere, because he never had that problem.
Not at all.
Very sure-handed.
Yeah.
So I don't think Dallas is going to win. If Dak doesn't get hurt, it's tough because
even if Dak is healthy, I don't think they can. Because the defense is just so bad.
That's what it goes back to.
They give up 20 points.
Their defense is legendarily bad.
Yeah,
they're bad at a record-breaking level.
Yeah, but they're giving up 40 spots every week. And I knew they were going to listen. I knew there was going to be a drop off between Dak and Andy Dalton. But like you just said, and
I didn't expect it to be this much.
Yeah, they had the weapons are there. When you're with all the weapons the Cowboys have. When you're a quarterback, you're playing point guard.
Yeah, you're not trying to win the game. Just get the ball out.
You know who would be great with all those weapons is a guy like Nick Foles.
Yeah,
because he has that point guard mentality, and that's why I thought I was okay. Andy Dalton, he's fallen off. He went to the Pro Bowl 3 times. He took the Cincinnati to playoffs I think 5 times in his tenure. This will be okay.
He's probably the best quarterback in that franchise's history.
Yeah.
Without looking at the record books or anything like that, he's probably the best.
Because Carson Palmer wasn't there long enough.
No.
Boomer Esiason was, I guess he's probably the most celebrated because he took him to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But statistically speaking, Andy Dalton's up there, no question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You look at the Cowboys and they should win this division going away. But it's not going to happen because that defense is just so bad. It's just really, really bad.
Eagles complain about injuries, and rightfully so. I don't like to make the excuse, injuries. Everybody has injuries.
Right.
But teams don't have injuries that wipe out whole position groups.
Yeah.
You're on your 6th.
The Eagles are in the middle of a bubonic plague.
Yeah.
It's bad.
They're playing guys who would come in and play the second half of the 4th preseason game.
Right.
These are guys who, when their starters come back, they're going to get their job back at Enterprise.
We'll pick you up.
Yeah, we'll pick you up. I'm not picking you up. I'm dropping you off.
Yeah, right.
Okay, because you're not playing for my team anymore. It just doesn't. But I say all that because the Cowboys are the only team that can claim injuries to the extent that the Eagles can.
Right.
But the reason why I'm not allowing them is because last year they had no injuries. They had no excuses. And they were telling Eagles fans, don't want to hear an excuses for you. No excuses. Carson's playing the whole year. No excuses. So they gave no excuses last year for the Eagles' injuries last season. And therefore they expect a pass for their injuries this season.
Right.
They're not getting the pass from me personally. And on top of that, the Eagles still have worse injuries. But if we're ranking it Cowboys are number 2 on the injury list, followed not far behind by San Francisco, who is also decimated and has basically half of their starting defense out.
Right. I would agree.
And have lost their quarterback for a couple games.
So to put a bow on this real quick, I mean, I can never root for my team not to make the playoffs. And I think we're both on the same page where we probably should be rooting for that, and they should make the playoffs for the betterment of the franchise. I just can't personally do that. So I think
it's definitely a rock between rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because if it's one thing if you knew that you needed 10 wins to win the division. You could win the division with 6 wins. 6 wins get you a home playoff game.
6-9-1.
6-9-1 gets you a home playoff game.
Yeah. That's a disrespectful record.
But 4-11-1 would get you a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So that's what it's what is more important in the long run is probably the top 5 pick. But I don't trust the front office to make the correct assessment
1,000%.
and to make the correct selection.
Right.
They haven't shown a track record of doing that.
No, not at all.
That's
why we're here, because it's drafting. That's why we're here.
The last guy that I actually felt that they hit on in the first round was Carson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And before that, Lane Johnson.
Yes. So I want to move on to the NBA.
I love basketball.
Me too. And I have some exciting news. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Woj dropped a bomb.
Woj.
So the NBA is reportedly targeting a December start.
Yeah, December 22nd, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, which I'm a little surprised. I thought I know before the bubble, in the middle of the bubble, they were talking about maybe Christmas Day, but after the season went till mid-October, I didn't think that was possible. But I'm excited that it'll be back sooner than expected. So, the power rankings came out last week. ESPN released their power rankings.
I love the way too early rankings that come out.
Yeah, it has me a little confused.
See, what I don't understand is putting out power rankings prior to the free agency and the draft.
I would agree with you.
Because,
but these power rankings definitely need more research.
Yeah, but because these teams are not going to look the way that they are in these rankings right now. But give it to me.
So I'm going to go through all of them in a minute, but I'm going to start. Where do you think the 76ers rank right now? Where would you? I'll rephrase the question. Where would you personally put the Sixers in the NBA power rankings?
Let's see. I'd put them somewhere in the. I'd put them at 11.
Okay. I wouldn't have them in the top 10 either. But guess what? They're in the top 10. They are the 8th ranked team currently, which 8th, which baffles me because I feel like first of all, they're ahead of Miami and they're ahead of Brooklyn, which I don't understand that at all.
I don't understand Miami at all. Brooklyn, the only reason I understand it is because we haven't seen it yet. And it's hard for them to evaluate something that they haven't seen.
Miami's 9.
That's
to me is absurd. And so let's go through real quick and then we'll break it down. So the Lakers are 1, as they should be. They're champions. Clippers are 2.
Makes sense.
Bucks are 3.
Okay.
Nuggets are 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavericks coming in at 5, which I'm a little surprised at. I mean, I like the Mavericks, but 5?
I'm surprised that the Nuggets are 4.
I believe the Nuggets turned the corner.
Who's 6?
6 is Golden State.
Who's 7?
7 is Boston.
Okay, I'm surprised they're that low.
I agree. I would have Boston ahead of Milwaukee, and probably I don't know, maybe ahead of Denver. I don't know, but
that's where I was thrown off at.
So here's who's not in the top 10, which I'm surprised at. The Jazz are not in the top 10. The Jazz are a good basketball team, and then the Jazz, that Jazz Nuggets series, the Jazz, they're a good basketball team. They play good defense, and they're missing one of their top scorers. They're a good team. Also, right now, and we're talking right now, like no trades have been made. The Thunder, another team that should be in the top 10.
Nah. I disagree.
But these are teams that should replace the Sixers. I think they're better than the Sixers.
The thing is, I don't think the Thunder are better than the Sixers.
Right now, I beg to differ. What about the Blazers? Where are the Blazers?
All right, that's a good argument.
I don't understand. I don't know where they're at. Like, I was shocked to see the Sixers number 8. And for me, the only reason I can guess they put them up there is because Doc Rivers is the coach now. But a head coaching change to me does not change next to anything right now. We haven't seen. We don't know. We don't really know what's going to be happening. Like you said, the draft, the free agency, all that stuff like that, which is it's going to be crazy how it all works because everything's going to be jumbled together this year. We're going to have bing, bang, boom right on top of each other. But I look at the Sixers, the way things ended and how ugly that was. But like they weren't even, I mean, I know the games, they had a couple close games at Boston, but they weren't really competitive in that series at all.
No.
So how in the world are they one spot behind them? I don't think they're like. I look at Boston right now and Philly. I don't think they're anywhere near each other.
No, they're not.
And Miami, you're better than Miami. Miami would have swept them.
Boston looks like a team that's ready to go. Mm-hmm. Like Boston looks like they're going to be a problem for the next 7 years. They have all the
pieces.
Yes.
All the pieces are there. And the Sixers, speaking of pieces, it's a disjointed mess. We don't know right now what this is going to look like and how this is all going to make sense, because last year that was the problem. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. And it translated on the court where you had a lot of guys that did not necessarily know and understand their roles and what they were supposed to be doing day to day. Like, and now listen, Brett Brown's not the coach anymore. We have a new coach, but my biggest problems with scheme-wise with the Sixers, I never knew game to game what they actually wanted to do. And that's an issue. When you look at the court and you're watching them play basketball and you're like, what are they actually trying to do here? What is the advantage you're trying to have over the other team? Like, and defensively too, also. Defensively, the way they were constructed, they should have been the best defensive team in the NBA.
Yes.
Or a top 2.
Yes.
At very worst, a top 2. They were one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA consistently. You didn't see that. You didn't see that consistency at all. And in the Boston series, Boston did whatever they wanted offensively.
They did.
Whatever they wanted. Whenever they needed a basket, they got that basket. They just couldn't get stops. So I don't like you help me out here. How in the world are they 8th right now in the power rankings? I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I would have Boston up at 4. Mm-hmm. I think that, like I said, they look like they're a problem. Golden State, I'd have them probably at 5. What did you say they were? I think
6.
they were 6. Yeah, probably have them. That would probably be my top 5.
The Mavericks were 5. I think that's a little high for them right now.
Yes, they're a top 10
I think the Mavericks are top 10.
But I don't want to have. I'd probably have them down at the. I'd probably swap them and Boston out. Maybe
I think the Mavericks. Listen, I love Dallas. Dallas, like everyone has, like back in the '90s when I was a kid. Even though I was a Sixers fan, I had a team I liked to watch. That team back then was the Seattle SuperSonics. I was obsessed with like Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf, Gary Payton. I love that squad. Now for me, it's Dallas. I love watching the Mavericks play basketball. I'm a huge Luka Doncic is my favorite player in the NBA. That's not a Sixer. I know you're a Klay Thompson man.
Yes.
But I love Klay.
Big fan of Klay.
I love Klay too, but Luka Doncic is my guy. That's my non-Sixers guy. I love the way he plays the game. It's just so much fun to watch. And I mean, you look back at Dallas and, you know, they were a Kristaps Porzingis injury and suspension away from knocking the Clippers out in the first round. But I still think that's a little too high for them. I would have had them probably in the Sixers spot at 8. I think 8 is probably where they should be. But I don't know. It's like I said, it's all fantasy right now because, again, like you pointed out, we haven't had a draft.
What teams are going to look like.
We haven't had free agency. We haven't had any. We don't know what it's going to look like in a short amount of time. I can't believe it's so weird that we're talking about this in late October because this is now the time usually when the season is beginning and all that stuff is already done. So it's going to be interesting over this next month to get all of these things accomplished and be ready for opening day. But I'll tell you who this does not help out at all this season starting this quickly. And by the way, it's also going to be They're looking at a 70 to 72 game season.
Yes.
With a play-in tournament also.
Yes.
But this does not help out LeBron and Lakers at all.
No.
Starting this soon. This is not for them at all.
No.
This is a quick turnaround. And also, with a season like this, when a shortened season, now they're getting in more games than I thought they were going to get in. I had it more at 55, 60 games. So this is a longer sample size than I thought, but still, there can't be any days off in a season like this. Like a shortened season like this, there can't be any load management. There can't be any rest. You're going to have to play every game you're available. Because I'm assuming, I haven't heard anything. I don't know if you have, but I'm assuming they're going back to playing in their own stadiums, correct? Or no?
I can't imagine they're going to have a 72 game bubble. As much as
a 6 month bubble.
As much as you and I would probably both want that.
Yes.
And would enjoy that.
We would be the only people like, yeah, bubble.
Yeah. I can't imagine that happening.
No. So you imagine they're going back. So now home court advantage matters again.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff is in play. So you have to have your guys available every night to play. And we both know that's not what LeBron likes to do.
No.
So that in itself does
Kawhi.
not help them in their case to repeat.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, and I don't know where you were with this, I was thinking the season would start like January, like maybe mid-January, and you go to June. And so you get back on schedule again for 21-22. But they're ready to go now.
Yeah, I thought the same thing as you. I thought it would start in January, but they really don't want to miss that Christmas day that they have.
And I'm glad they're not going to miss it. I look forward to Christmas Day basketball.
Absolutely.
That's my jam.
That is to them what Thanksgiving is to the NFL.
Right. Absolutely.
So they really don't want to give that up.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think it's a little bit of a quick turnaround. I thought it was going to start same thing as you, mid January, go to this regular time, and then end the 2021 season. I guess it would only be the 21 season because there's no game. End that season and be on track for the following year.
So when's training camp starting? How is that going to work? Because we're at what, October 24th? Well, we're October 24th.
Yeah.
So if the draft is like in a week or two or something?
Yeah. Training camp would have to start about 6 weeks before the season. So if you're looking at a December 22nd start time, you're looking at early to mid-November of a training camp start.
Let me ask you a question.
You're looking at training camp sometime within the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Let me ask you a question. So Doc Rivers, new coach of Philly, Stan Van Gundy in New Orleans, Steve Nash in Brooklyn, Ty Lue with the Clippers. How do you think this is going to really? I believe personally this is going to affect big time new coaches trying to put in new systems. I don't see how it's possible to be able to do that in such a short amount of time. Do you think this is going to have an impact at all on new coaches? Like, do you think there's going to be advantage with coaches that have been better teams they have their system, they have their guys, they're already set, they have the coaching staff? Is this going to affect new coaches coming in to be able to turn around this fast and have their team ready to play December 22nd?
Clippers, no. Brooklyn, no. Sixers, potentially. I say no. What it comes down to is the NBA, at the end of the day, is a players' league. 5-on-5, the guys are going to go out there and they're just going to play ball. So when all the chips are down, coaching schemes and all that doesn't matter. They're going to go out and just play ball they've been playing for the last 10, 15, 20 years of their life. So when you have guys, Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, it's not going to affect the team, guys like that.
And it also helps that Ty Lue was an assistant on that staff.
Yes.
So that's going to help him too.
When you have guys like Kyrie and KD, it's not as big. When you have guys like Ben Simmons and Embiid, that affects it.
Yeah.
Because
plus, if you look at all those teams, the team that's going to have the biggest overhaul will be the Sixers.
And Kawhi and Paul George and Lou Williams, I lump all three of them together. Those guys could succeed in any system, any team. He is a hired mercenary for Toronto last year.
Yeah.
It didn't
absolutely.
Brooklyn, KD.
He was John Wick for a year.
Yes. KD, we talked about it last week. He can fall backwards into 20 points in the first half.
Right.
Kyrie, my opinion, one of the best handlers ever.
Absolutely.
Those guys, it doesn't. Ben Simmons doesn't have that skill set.
Right.
Embiid doesn't have, they're system guys. You need to system around them.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it could be an issue. Now, going back to your previous point about an early startup, I do think it's starting up a little bit early, but why? 2 reasons real quick why I don't think it's as big of a deal is that all the players were in the bubble. They weren't traveling.
Right.
Yes, it was an accelerated, experience, more games in a short amount of time. But that travel is just as brutal on the players' bodies as the game is.
Absolutely. I actually just thought of one more thing about that also is that, you really think about it, the two teams that are mostly going to be affected by this early startup are Lakers and Heat.
Yeah.
Because they went to, mid-October, where the Sixers were done in August.
Yeah.
And if you're out in the first round, you were done in August. And most teams were done.
And if you didn't make it to the bubble, you've been done since March.
Right. And most teams have been done since, late September, early October. So yeah, just really those two teams that are really going to be majorly affected by this.
You had a 3-month layoff from March to June.
Right.
So it wasn't like you had the entire 6, 7, 8 month grind of the season.
Yeah.
You had a little mini, off season, came to the bubble, and now here's another mini off season. I think, like I said, I think it is starting too early, but I don't think that the effects are going to be as dramatic as we had mentioned.
Yeah.
Or as we think, I should say.
So I want to talk about marriages for a second.
Talk about what?
Marriages.
Marriages? Okay.
We have peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
You got Jordan and Pippen.
Okay.
What could be a better marriage than basketball and hip-hop? I don't know if there is one.
There's not. I mean, they go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand.
They say all NBA players want to be rappers, and all rappers want to be NBA players.
Facts only. Now, one of the biggest staples for me growing up in hip-hop was the mixtape. Now,
Datpiff.com?
Yeah. Mixtapes are still being done today, but it's just not the same.
It's not.
I feel like with a mixtape, I gotta have a physical copy. I need to have it in my hand. I don't like digital mixtapes. I don't like that. I need to have it physically in my hand. I want the paper
Listen,
album
go
cover.
down to South Street. You can get plenty of mixtapes.
Yeah. I used to.
I'm not saying they're going to be any good.
Yeah. We go to the barbershop and the guy would walk in with the DVDs and the mixtapes. I love that. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take it back to the mixtape era. And we're going to right now give you our favorite mixtapes of all time. I'm going to let you go first.
You let me? Oh,
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, let me pull my list up. Okay.
All right, get the list active.
Okay, so like I said, these are my personal 3.
Okay.
The mixtapes. Now, unlike you, I am a fan of digital-only everything. Okay?
You've converted.
Oh, I've been converted.
I got you.
Converted. I can't tell you. Actually, you want the last CD that I physically purchased? It's probably Jay-Z's Black Album. That's
wow.
That's where a physical went to the store.
So you went iPod after that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Digital. Yeah. That's probably the last one. I even remember when I can even tell you the day I bought it.
Wow.
Yeah. June 16th, 2004.
Look at you.
Yeah, I bought it at Target.
Good job by you.
The last physical CD I ever bought.
Wow.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to start with 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Starting with 3. Is big for me because I got to see this artist start, literally from the bottom. No pun intended. And now he's way up at the top, and that is Cushion Orange Juice by Wiz Khalifa. So I got to see him. He started by performing.
That's a good call, Cushion Orange Juice. That's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good mixtape.
He started performing and made his name at the fraternities at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to see him do that and then just work his way steadily up. But when he dropped that, and he had all these references to Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania and all this stuff, so that was my number 3.
Yeah, real quick, I met him at Pitt. At my buddy was part of ZBT, and his DJ Bubonics, used to DJ the parties there. He was ZBT. And Wiz came through before anyone knew he was. And my buddy was friends with
all
Bubonics.
6'10" of him.
Right. My buddy friend Bubonics like, yo, there's my artist Wiz Khalifa. I was like, oh, what's up? And then literally 6 months later, Black and Yellow hits.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Man, all 6 foot.
Right.
10
He's a tall, lanky man.
He's a tall person.
Tall, lanky man. He could be a Sesame Street character.
He could. Number 2, Dream Chasers 2. Meek Mill.
Okay.
When that mixtape came out, summer 2012, you could not go anywhere and not hear nearly every song off of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 1, it's hard to pick. This artist is basically, you can pick whichever mixtape you want from them.
Yeah.
And that's why they call him the Mixtape Wheezy.
Mixtape Wheezy.
Okay.
Mixtape Wheezy. There's Playoff Rondo.
Yes.
There's Bubba Warren.
So I'm personally going to go now. Like I said, there's many mixtapes you can take from him.
Yeah, this is a good call. Yeah.
My personal one I'm going with is No Ceilings.
No Ceilings is really good.
Okay. During that time period, Jay-Z held the crown, and I don't think anybody's going to dispute that.
Right.
But No Ceilings, Wayne was on him.
Yeah. Well, you hear Wayne tells a story around that time when Jay-Z called him, and this is totally a Jay-Z move, just called him and said, I see you, and just hung up. That was the conversation. He just wanted him to know, yo, I see you coming for me. I see what's happening here. Because Wayne he got after it. So
what,
for me,
here's
for me. I'm going a little more old school than you because for me, there's 3 pioneers of the mixtapes. And when I was a kid, when I was coming up, DJ Clue, The Professional, came out 96, 97. It had some iconic artists on there. This mixtape contained Jay-Z, Ja Rule, DMX, The Rough Riders. The Rough Riders Anthem remix on that mixtape. DMX's song was on that mixtape. You had Jay-Z, Ja Rule collabo. Huge at the time, major collection of artists. And DJ Clue brought it all together because he was Def Jam, so everybody brought everything together. My other artist, 50 Cent. 50 Cent completely changed the way mixtapes were done.
True.
50 Cent was the first artist that you saw make his own songs out of other artists' songs. Yeah. And it became a thing where you were like, yo. Is this song better than the actual song that's on the radio? That's how great it got. So 50 Cent, I got 2. I got Guess Who's Back.
Yes.
And 50 Cent Is Coming. Those are my favorite 2. But I can go through any Junior Radio with DJ Who Kid. Any of those, I could make the list. My last is, like you said, Wayne. But my Wayne is Sorry for the Wait 4 and The Dedication 4. Wayne, at that point, also was just incredible lyricist. Can't say enough things about him. But listen, we'll go ahead and get out of here. So we will talk to you tomorrow around this time. We'll get into the NFL.
Week 7 NFL action.
Week 7 NFL action is upon us, and we have no stress. Eagles fans, the Eagles don't play tomorrow, so we can calm down. And we're also going to talk about Charlie Brown tomorrow because I'm a little sad about something I read.
Yes, I've read that too, so we will dive into that.
We're going to address that in detail.
That's what we call a teaser.
Yes, and handy snacks.
Handy snacks.
Wait for it.
Okay.
All right, so I'm Marcus Bradham.
I'm intrigued. I'm Justin Emery.
And we will see you tomorrow. Late.